Russia-Ukraine News Psaki draws parallels between Putin's tactics and the GOP's Hunter Biden talking point. Republicans' rhetorical strategy of comparing the alleged wrongdoings of former President Trump and those of Hunter Biden, former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Thursday, creates a false equivalency and mirrors tactics employed by Russian President Vladimir Putin and other authoritarian regimes. Republicans aim to confuse the issue at hand. Psaki, an MSNBC host, said as much on the program, Jose Das Ballart reports, adding that authoritarian dictators like Vladimir Putin employ such strategies. However, that is their strategic objective, to make it all seem the same, the former top spokesperson for President Biden added. Psaki pointed out that the president's son has become a provocative talking point for the GOP base after his plea deal on tax and gun-related charges recently fell apart in court, but she emphasized that the charges are very different from those Trump faces. If you want to get the Republican base excited about something, raise Hunter Biden. Strategically, they want people to think that Hunter Biden, who did not pay taxes for 2 years and did not register his gun, is no different from anyone else. Definitely a serious matter. There will be repercussions. He is currently involved in the judicial system. She explained that the plea bargaining process was in progress. That is not the same, and I think it's important to state this. As a former president trying to overturn the outcome of an election or obstructing justice, as he's been indicted for, Psaki continued. The Trump team is looking for false equivalence, where everything is treated as though it were the same. In response, political strategist Matthew Dowd pointed out in the interview that appealing to voters' emotions by bringing up a candidate's family members has never worked. Dowd argued that while this might excite the base, it has generally been shown to have no effect on swing voters. There's a long tradition in our country of one political party recruiting members of the other party to work on their behalf during elections. He went on to give several examples of why this approach was futile. When George W. Bush was president, I recall hearing constant references to Neil Bush. The election went to George Bush. Despite repeated attempts to bring up Bill Clinton's half-brother Roger Clinton, nothing ever came of it. There was constant reference to Richard Nixon's sibling. It was a failure. In 1966, Billy Carter entered the world. It's useless. A major disruption. It's good for keeping people satisfied at their roots. Hunter Biden is irrelevant to swing voters, Dowd continued. A red statue depicting Vladimir Putin that has appeared in a Rome playground has baffled locals and children. Sitting in Villa Borghese's park, it bewildered and intrigued young park-goers and their parents alike. French sculptor James Colomina erected the statue of the Russian president perched atop a toy tank. Colomina, whose signature bright red street sculptures are often placed in public without advance notice, displayed the epoxy resin sculpture to draw attention to the conflict in Ukraine. Putin's childish but dangerous behavior, as he sees it, is symbolic of the sculpture's meaning. He has previously put up the statue in New York, Paris, and Barcelona. After former member Leah Remini sued the Church of Scientology and its leader, David Miscavige, the church issued a lengthy, scathing response. The King of Queens star, 53, made the announcement in a press release on Wednesday, the 2nd of August, claiming that she and thousands of other critics of the church had been subjected to destructive retaliation efforts in an effort to silence them. Remini spent 35 years as a prominent member of the religion before leaving in 2013. Troublemaker. Surviving Hollywood and Scientology, her 2016 book, and Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, her Emmy-winning docuseries, both feature her making numerous allegations about the church's controversial activities after she left. The church labeled the actor an anti-free speech bigot in its statement. Church officials went on to say that Remini is solely to blame for her inability to find work. As one commentator put it, obviously everybody in Hollywood now knows what we already knew. That Remini is a horrible person and toxic to so many who have the misfortune to come into contact with her. Here is the full statement from the church. to put an end to what she calls mob-style operations and attacks on her and other alleged victims and survivors of the Church of Scientology and their advocates, Remini has filed suit. According to the press release, the lawsuit seeks to require Scientology and any entity it controls and funds to cease and desist its alleged practice of harassment, defamation, and other unlawful conduct against anyone who Scientology has labeled as an enemy. Remini is seeking compensatory and punitive damages to make up for the harm she claims Scientology has caused to her and her career. According to the lawsuit, Scientology leaders and agents began financing and ordering coordinated campaigns against Remini, her family, friends, business partners, associates, advertisers, proposed future advertisers, future employers, and support office staff who have never met her as early as 2006, 7 years before Remini left Scientology. According to court documents reviewed by The Independent, Remini is seeking a jury trial and has filed 9 claims for damages related to the conduct of the Office of Special Affairs, OSA, formerly known as the Guardian's Office. Activities of Scientologists and non-Scientologists alike will be monitored, and those who have been labeled enemies of Scientology will face exacting revenge and retribution, as the press release puts it. To totally restrain and muzzle, obliterate, and ruin utterly her, and to show a pattern and practice of harassment, defamation, and abuse, the complaint alleges that attacks on Remini were activated by OSA and their operatives under founder L. Ron Hubbard's OSA network orders. Remini wrote on her personal Substack blog that she is suing to protect my rights as afforded by the Constitution of the United States to speak the truth and report the facts about Scientology. I believe I am not the first person targeted by Scientology and its operations, but I intend to be the last, Remini stated. The Church of Scientology has generated headlines due to its allegedly restrictive teachings, but is classified as a cult in Germany. Numerous celebrities, including Leah Remini, Tom Cruise, Elizabeth Moss, and John Travolta, who is rumored to have left the church after Kelly Preston's death and medical treatment in 2020, have sat in its pews over the years.